Hello, how are you all? It's part 4 time, right? I'm doing part 4 of my series, Weird Facts About the Moon. And this video is dedicated to a friend who, on my last video, made a comment about is there any more parts to the moon? What was it? Ignatz Firefly, I think. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm just going by memory. So, hey, this is for you. Thanks for asking. That's very nice. I was very moved. So I'm glad that there's some people out there appreciating my series. So I was going to do a video tonight on preparations for solar storms, imminent solar storms. But anyway, let's not get into that because that's not what this is about. So I thought I would revisit the moon, right? And so anyway, we've been looking at some weird facts concerning the moon. And if you haven't already, right, watch the first 3 parts of my series, because I go over these strange, weird and wonderful facts, very peculiar facts, very curious facts, and we haven't really got into a lot of speculation. We've just been looking at facts regarding the moon, such as the mathematical synchronicities and extreme coincidences that are just like completely what's the word I'm looking for, unlikely for it to be a chance thing, right? And just other little bits and pieces, evidence that the moon is hollow. Watch the videos, right? Because it's all there. Okay, so now let's do a little bit of speculating here. Now this part 4, it's not gonna be very structured. It's just gonna have some general chat about the moon, right? So I've been researching a little bit more. The ancients had some peculiar things to say about the moon. There's talk in some of the ancient records of the moon being habitated by reptilians and of it being a base or a space station, of the moon having been created by extraterrestrials. Okay, so I don't know, but then let's have a look at the Bible, right? Now there's speculation that the moon was placed where it is today at the time of Noah, at the time of the flood, and that prior to the flood the earth was surrounded by a canopy of water vapor, and this canopy of water vapor, it just kind of kept the earth moist, it kept it humid, there was moisture for the vegetation to grow, and there was no rain. And at the time of Noah, rain was a new thing. When we had the 40 days and 40 nights of rain, that was a unique thing. That was the first time rain had fallen upon the earth, and prior to this there was just a nice moist atmosphere, because you had this canopy of water vapor. Now that's not unusual for a planet, right? A lot of planets do have a canopy around them of water vapor. Okay, so that's not out of this world. That's not an outrageous thing. There are scientists that believe that once upon a time the Earth was like that. So there is speculation that the moon came at that time, just before the flood, and actually caused the flood. And then it gets quite involved, because it talks about how the flood then caused the Earth's crust to open up and the continents to drift to where they are today, and that the probably a pole shift. And basically, there's a mainstream theory that the continents, right, is the continental drift thing, right? That the continents drifted to where they are today over a period of 44 million years. Whereas, like, there is evidence that it was much faster than that, and I'm talking like much faster, like 20 minutes. That the Earth's continents drifted from being all together to way apart in 20 minutes. and there's evidence of that in the fossil record. There's been fossils of fish found while swimming. You know, fossils of animals that are eating at the time of fossilization. Okay, so there is evidence in history of quick cataclysms, you know, things, you know, earth changes quick, sudden, right? Also like flash freezing under glaciers, animals like flash frozen instantly, you know, where maybe, I don't know, they were in the tropics at one point and now suddenly they're like at the poles. They've just moved, you know, and they've got like grass in their mouths, you know, or tropical vegetation. Okay, so there's evidence of that. Okay, but that's not in your textbooks, in your schools. Alright, you've got to like kind of delve a little bit and dig for alternative yet credible alternatives to history. Okay, because your textbooks would have you believe you know, the old school stuff, you know. And it's very easy to believe that everything happened over millions and millions of years. Everything's over bloody millions and millions and millions and millions of years, isn't it? Everything, right? Well, it's easier to believe that something happened over millions and millions of years. It's not so easy to believe that something happened like real, you know, really quick, right? But don't rule it out, because I do believe that. Now, about the moon, right? Now, okay, we're talking about Noah's flood, right? And you know, this theory also goes on to say that Noah didn't build an ark, right? But that, like, the Noah's Ark stories, that Noah, he went on board a spaceship, and everyone on board the spaceship, like the ark that was actually a spaceship, they went to the moon to, like, you know, wait for the earth to settle down, and then they came back to the earth again. Well, okay, if we're going to take an account from the Bible, right, and base our history on that, right, and I do believe that the Bible is a fairly accurate account of history, right? Now, for those of you who don't know, like, I'm not religious. I do believe in God. I'm not religious, and I do believe that there is a lot of manipulation regarding religion and imposing rules and regulations and trying to control the masses through the Bible. But from a historical point of view, right, I believe that there is some accurate history. I do believe that the Bible was largely compiled by the Illuminati, right, but there is a hell of a lot of truth embedded in it, right, because that's how the Illuminati work, right? They, like, you know, they do what they do, but they put the truth out there. It's like the old saying, the truth is out there. Well, yeah, the truth is out there, right, because the Illuminati see to it that the truth is out there, right? It's all deceit, lies, deceit, lies, deceit, lies, deceit, right, all the time. But it's like, I don't know, they have a code of conduct or something, because through all this lies and deceit and deception and, you know, deep lies, right, in the midst of it all, the truth is in it, right? Because that's the way they operate. So anyway, we're kind of getting off subject here. So, okay, so if we're going to use a biblical account, right, to try and fathom a mystery, okay, then we got to kind of, you know, look at the whole thing. So, with regards to the moon coming about in Noah's time, well, okay, first of all, sorry, I'm just backtracking a little bit. Okay, Noah wasn't on the spaceship, I don't think, because, like, they have found an ark on Mount Ararat, so, you know, so I think there was a literal ark, and there was a literal flood, and it would make sense that if there's a flood you're going to get on a boat, but anyway, but who knows, maybe he was on a spaceship, who knows. Right, but anyway, so he certainly didn't have two of every kind of animal on the ark of the entire earth, because that's a little bit unreasonable, but hey, you know, maybe that's not to be taken totally literally. Maybe he had DNA samples of two of every kind of animal, or I don't know, but anyway, hey, we're getting off subject, right, shut up, Jamie. Let's try and, like, okay, right, we're never going to get through this, Okay, so let's go back to Genesis right now. In the account of creation in the book of Genesis, there is evidence. Now, I was thinking to myself, hang on a minute, does the moon even appear in the Bible? Well, yes, it does. Okay, but then I thought initially, hey, hang on a minute, the moon maybe isn't even in the Bible, right? And if it is like much later in the Bible, it's probably put there by the Illuminati. But then I was reading the Genesis account of creation, and it is pretty damn clear that the moon is there, right? And the word moon does not appear in Genesis chapter 1, but it's pretty damn obvious that it's describing the moon. It talks about a greater light for the day and a lesser light for the night. Well, hey, and then it talks about the stars as a separate thing. It names it calls the stars. So you can't really interpret that too many ways. It's pretty obvious that it's the moon that's being described. Okay, so then I would then be inclined to believe that, and this is what I do believe, okay, is that I do believe that the moon is artificial. It has been put here, right, and it is used as a space station. I'll go into that in just a moment, right, but I would if I had to pinpoint a time that the moon arrived, right, I would say it was right before Genesis chapter 1, right? Because I do believe that mankind inhabited the earth for probably millions of years before Genesis chapter 1 and verse 1 started, which says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Okay, well that's obviously referring to the creation of the earth. So Genesis chapter 1, it talks about the creation of man, Adam and Eve. Now, were they the first man and woman? Well, the Bible would lead you to believe that yes, they were, but I would be inclined to believe that there were people on the earth before Adam and Eve, and that I believe that the earth is thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, I don't know, and there's a big difference between thousands and millions. Yes, I know that, but anyway, I don't know, but for a period of time, the earth has been inhabited for a period of time, probably a very long period of time, prior to Adam and Eve, say, right? Okay, but I would say that probably at around the time of Adam and Eve, maybe that's when the moon was put here, because I believe that at the time of Adam and Eve, now the Bible calls it the fall, right? Okay, through sin, that's the religiosity, but I believe that at the time of Adam and Eve, right, that is the time that humankind became tarnished, right? And we fell, in a sense, as in, like, initially we were pedigree humans, okay, and then we were messed around with genetically, right? And we were made imperfect, right? And we were made to become sick and to die, and things started happening to the human race, right? And it's all gone downhill from there, right? And that was through the visitation of extraterrestrials that have got an agenda here on the earth, right? The extraterrestrials, they have an agenda, but that's a different topic altogether, so we can't go there in this video. Okay, so the extraterrestrials, they started messing around mankind, maybe create a slave race or whatever their agenda, okay? And so when they came and started to, like, manipulate us and in every way, I'm not just talking about manipulation, but even in a literal sense, manipulation physically, manipulation of DNA, right? At the same time, they had a purpose for the moon, right? Because the moon does have an effect on your life, not just on the earth, but on you as a human being, right? Because let's face it, the moon governs the tides on the earth, right? It has a big effect upon the tides. Now you are made up of largely, well, what is it, 98% water, or 90 something, right? You're mostly water, right? Have you heard of a lunatic? Right, when there's a full moon, people start, like, acting weird. A luna is moon, lunatic, right? Women's periods, it's all moon based, right? The moon affects people, right?